I think we're gonna go like this. It's cleaner for now, because I can't combine both the chats. I'm on YouTube and Twitch, man. That's a W, dude. Oh, here we go. Whew, it's starting. Wait, I need full screen.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the live reveal of the Spiritborn.
The trailer, guys. Fuck.
Oi, young one.
Oi. I'm gonna get a heart attack live on stream. Long live the Barb Nation. Okay, we're gonna be like...
Nerel? Oh, you're not well. Please, please, my child, let me help you.
Stay away from me! Nerel! Is that how I raised you?
No, Mother. But I must carry this burden alone. I must get to Akarat's tomb.
But look at you. You're killing yourself.
Let's go.
I don't
We're gonna watch
know
Rob.
how much longer I can...
He's one of my favorite Twitch streamers.
Little magpie.
I feel the atmosphere, man. There's another one.
You so
I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm so
You want
proud
subtitles
of
or
you.
no?
But now, I need you to give.
Up.
Big Spiritborn Reveal today. Coming in like 3 minutes.
Hey, thank you so much, Chewbacca. Actually, I need to disable the notifications for now.
You made a choice. And I warned you.
Ooh, let's go.
There
So they use the trailer to kind of buff it in.
I'm gonna mute notifications. Thanks, Reason. I'm mute.
Who's logging in? Let's go.
The stone. You control nothing.
Fucking pork.
I mean, we've all probably seen this trailer a dozen times
Maybe
at this
you're
point.
right. Maybe I could use some help.
Poor fella. Poor feller.
Hello, Diablo community.
That was
Adam
insane
Fletcher,
timing.
Creative Director for Diablo. Welcome to our Spiritborn Showcase, where we're doing a deep dive for this all-new class coming to Diablo 4, which will include a series of interviews followed by Q&A from Twitch chat. I'm joined here today with Game Director Brent Gibson.
Thanks, Adam. We've been working hard to make something unique for Diablo,
Shorts on me.
and we're finally here to actually talk about it.
Brent, I can remember us at BlizzCon where we showed off our very first cinematic for Vessel of Hatred. Now we're actually here to showcase the
Let's
Spiritborn
go.
for the first time. We're glad to have you back for the full reveal.
Thanks. We've set out to make an all-new class that comes from the jungles of Nahantu, an apex predator with a deep connection to the spirit realm. So, without further ado, let's kick off this deep dive to the Spiritborn.
Only a few
I'm so excited. I have chills.
can become Spiritborn.
I have
As
chills.
children, the most promising face judgment in the mist. Our trial begins and ends with pain. Those who are not called are culled. For the weak, all paths end here. For the worthy, that path
What
leads
is
to
going
power
on?
beyond compare, and a sacred charge to wield it well. Though the mortal world was designed to break us, our hearts, our minds, our bodies, there is another which makes us bold. We are without fear.
Okay.
We are without
Okay.
equal. We walk with the ancient guardians of the unformed
What is
lands.
that?
Their power is our power. Their cause is our cause. We forge unbreakable bonds in the spirit realm to defeat the horrors of this one. For we
What is going on?
are Spiritborn.
Goosebumps.
Okay, that's like lunging strike. What?
Spin and win. Fucking love it.
Log in, guys.
Fucking gorilla. Hell yeah. Dude, this is gonna be so amazing.
And there it
I
is,
cannot
the
wait.
first
There
look
it
at the
is.
Spiritborn, the apex
Let's go.
predator from the jungle.
GG.
Awesome to finally show it off, and what an incredible trailer.
King
To talk
fucking
more
Kong.
about the Spiritborn, we would like to introduce
Yes.
Eleni Rivera Colon, narrative designer on Diablo 4. Welcome, Eleni.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here to talk about the Spiritborn class. I'm also a little nervous.
It's okay. We're live. We're doing this live here for everyone. But obviously, Eleni,
They're
we just
live,
saw
we're
here in the
live.
trailer,
It's all
with,
happening right now.
Spiritborn, and we saw a little bit about that spirit realm. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that spirit realm is?
Yeah, so I mean, to put it plainly, the spirit realm is a place where spirits go. It's this deeply spiritual place that's a byproduct of Sanctuary's creation. So, as you may know, the angels have the high heavens, the demons have the burning hells, and we have the spirit realm.
You know,
Okay.
we're hearing a little bit about
Okay,
the high
spirit
heavens
realm.
and the burning hells here, and players have actually seen both of those places specifically.
Feeling a lot of
What
Avatar
does
influence
the spirit
here.
realm actually look like for players?
Yeah,
The Last
we
Airbender.
really love this concept that the spirit realm is shaped by humanity. So if that's the case, the foundation of that would actually be Sanctuary. So you could imagine being in the middle of the jungle and you're surrounded by these tall trees and these ancient structures.
Atmosphere.
And when you cross over the veil into the spirit realm, you're going to see a ghostly reflection of just that. The big key difference is that you're going to see all the spirits and the creatures that exist there.
Yeah, there are these massive creatures that protect the realm from spirits they protect the realm and the spirits from corruption. So the Spiritborn class have this harmonious
Okay.
bond and connection with these massive creatures that are called the Spirit Guardians, and they work together toward the land.
I'm not gonna act like that's
It's
new.
awesome to hear about the spirit guardians, and people saw them in the trailer a little bit
Jaguar,
there.
man.
Can you actually tell us a
Whirlwind.
little bit more?
But I do
about,
like
It's not really summoned.
Yeah, so if
You'll see.
the spirit realm is shaped
I do
by
like where we're going with
humanity,
that.
we love the idea that the guardians are
Like being
formed
able to
from,
play a game with it
human belief. And
instead of
so
just watching
if you're
shows
trying
with
to
it.
survive in the jungle and protection is a thing that you are pouring all of your belief, your hope into, that belief it's magical. It's got power in itself, and it can actually create a creature that represents that. It could represent protection.
Yeah,
not
so
a druid.
as Brent is saying, the Spirit Guardians are this complex creation of Sanctuary's creation along with this powerful human belief. And Spiritborns devote their entire lives strengthening this incredible bond because these Spirit Guardians are powerful. It's this
Not a
idea,
druid,
right,
guys. Completely
of
different.
what these gods
You'll
look like.
see.
And so they can help protect both the realm and Nahantu.
Hmm.
You know, we saw in the trailer and some of the gameplay, people were, you know, if you're playing the Spiritborn, you can actually summon one of these in there. Is that something you can do on demand? Like, how does that work?
It's not a
Yeah,
pet.
you know, very early
Looks like you're
on in
gonna have to use
concepting,
resource to summon them.
we saw this one piece of a simple warrior raising their staff above their head and this
Reminds me a
massive
bit of Avatar.
spirit creature forming behind them. And that really
That snake.
became the lightning rod to a lot of thought-provoking ideas. I mean, we knew what we wanted to do mechanically with the class, but that image really solidified that the idea of summoning a god into battle was really cool, and that actually became the cornerstone for a lot of our development from then
Summoning
on.
a god
Yeah,
into
so
battle, he
talking
said.
about spirit guardians and summoning them, the Spiritborn class can summon 4 spirit guardians.
Which
The
any lore
first
we know
one that I
about
wanna talk about
spirits are,
is
they're very,
Risota,
very,
and
very
this guardian
powerful.
manifests in the
Spinning
form of a
and winning.
jaguar. So the belief of courage and ferocity, striking on the hunt, attacking a kill with no fear or reservations. The second one is Balazan, appearing as this massive centipede. The belief is balance and persistence. So although some people might see it as fear, it represents harmony and balance, so the give and take of life. And then we have Quatli. The manifestation of this is a majestic eagle, right? So to represent awareness and finesse, soaring above it all, having keen awareness of its surroundings,
This
and
one has like a
acting
lot
with
of range.
intent. And then the last one is Woomba. This guardian manifests in a powerful gorilla,
King
so
Kong.
this beacon of protection and strength,
It's
and a
America.
movable force that holds
You
its
gotta
ground and
love
sustains
Rob's
under pressure.
reactions. Come on.
So it's great.
The
'cause we've
old
heard
beat
a
in
little
the
bit about the
chest.
Spirit Realm.
Guys
We've
can
heard
be
about
more
these
tanky than
4
Bob.
awesome guardians. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of the star of the show now, the Spiritborn itself?
Yeah, so I think before we really dive in, I want to talk about Akarat, who's really important with the Spiritborn and the Spirit Realm. For those who don't know, Akarat is this prophet that believed in the human experience and that it gives us this unique power. We have this light within us. And that light gives us the ability to question and to doubt and to challenge.
It's gonna be so amazing.
When Akarat made his way to his mother's homeland in Nahantu, he felt this strong otherworldly presence, and he would spend a lot of time with one of his apostles, Isavete, trying to uncover what this mystery was. What was this feeling when he got to the realm, or when he got to the land of Nahantu, until he eventually discovers this veil, and that's the veil between the spirit realm and sanctuary. And he realized that this was this untouched place from neither angels or demons. They had never really had any sort of influence there. So Akrat and his dedicant Isavete would spend a lot of time studying, and he would be the first person and living being
So we get
to
a lot
cross
of
this veil.
Akarat lore.
And
I
then
like
after
that.
Akrat died, his apostle would then take on the mantle and then found the Spiritborn traditions that we know today.
You know, hearing about the Spiritborn, and of course, like, I'm sure this is a burning question from the community, but the Sanctuary has a long and storied history. Kind of, where have the Spiritborn been throughout all of this?
Yeah, so for anybody who knows the
Yeah, man, it's
the
been a year.
lore
Where they
of
been?
Diablo, this region is no stranger to Mephisto, right? So if you go back to Diablo 2 and you look at the story there, his original soul stone was imprisoned in this place. And its presence corrupted the Zakarum faith, it corrupted the region, and the Spiritborn remember this. And so over the course of what's been happening in D4, they've decided to stay at arm's length out of fear that history might repeat itself.
Yeah, so like I said before, this is an untouched realm. It's pure. This is something so sacred. And with Neyrel coming back with the Soulstone, this is a huge problem for the people of Nahantu, but specifically the Spiritborn that are trying to protect this land.
Yeah, and at this point, with him back, they have no choice but to rejoin the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to hear more
So
about
it's
the Spiritborn
Mephisto.
and where they originated from. And of course, thank you, Eleni, for
I
taking
said with
us
him
into the Spirit
back.
Realm in itself.
So is he the?
You know,
is
we've
he's gonna
talked
be
about
like
the new class,
the expansion
and how that was
boss?
created and what they've been up to. Next, we're actually going to take a look at how the art and concepts were designed.
Hell yeah.
Because we get a new class, or we're getting a new boss.
I was there where they made this. I'm gonna do that. It's so sick, man. How much goes into this kind of things?
We are now joined by my blood brother, art director Nick Chelano, who is here to show us how the Spiritborn visually came to be. Nick, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Adam. I'm really excited to talk about the Spiritborn finally.
Well, she
I know,
dipped out
it's
quick
been a
though,
long
huh?
time coming, been a
She
long
said,
time
"Get
coming."
me out of
Nick, will you
here."
tell us a little bit more about like how this class came to be, especially from the art side.
Yeah, you know, first of all, like that trailer, like what an origin story for a Diablo class.
Had an interview
like,
with Nick.
You got to go into the jungle, you answer the call, or you're cold. Like it's pretty rock and roll, and
It's
on the
pretty
other side,
rock
we
and
love
roll.
that stuff. So I think when you go back to like what Eleni
Yes,
was
Blizzard
talking
makes
about,
good
you really want to capture everything
they
from
make
the space
good
from a visual standpoint. So for us,
trailers.
it's
It's a
about
thing,
trying
okay?
to infuse the Hantu, the spirit realm, and a martial arts feel into the class. Brent mentioned that like kind of lightning rod moment. That's something that the art team really focuses on. When those moments happen,
so sick,
we
man.
really lock into that and start to do a lot of iteration. So like, you know, concept will start casting a really wide net, but when that happens, we really start to bring it in and we start to really do a lot of concepts around that so that we can kind of get that tagline that the team needs, which is like creating the living, breathing embodiment of the spirit realm.
Yeah, and it's really,
not a
you know, after
druid.
we get past that initial
He's
inspirational
way
piece,
cooler.
we want to like drill down into finding that iconic piece. And so when you look at some of the imagery that we're showing today, you can see how we're taking that embodiment and we're bringing it into all of the iconic look of that character.
10,000
We wanted a class
BC.
that wouldn't necessarily wear armor to protect themselves, but rather become the guardian that they're all about. And so if you're into the Jaguar, you're wearing the Jaguar helm. Your markings are the spots and patterns that you would see on that creature. The way that you move through the jungle would also be a big part of that package. And then once we have that iconic look, we can actually roll it out to the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's really the DNA of like.
I'll show you
where
all
we
the
I wonder
start
if the
going.
jungle's
Those
gonna be
iconic
annoying
images
with the trees,
drive
though.
The entire art department at that point, and that's our North Star. So we can move into things like, how do we get the Spirit Guardians on screen? How do they fit into the combat? If you think about the eagle, you know, is the full eagle show up? Is it just feathers? How do we represent that? And how do we like ramp that up through our visuals so you can start with something, you know, a little more on a certain scale and get to this like.
Where's the sound from this? Oh.
Or you know, visually,
Needed
like
the
visual
page.
iconography at the same time. So while we're doing
We'll
all
get
that
rid of
iteration and
Rob's
stuff
stream
with
for
the
a minute.
iconic looks and the skills, we're also starting to get into like, what is the identity of the class? Where do we want to put this iconography? And like, what is that visual footprint that they're going to take up on the screen?
I don't think we
it's
need the
seeing all
closed
this,
captions
like,
either.
badass concept art. Like shout out to our concept artists
Our
on
concept
the art
team's
team.
amazing.
Yeah.
So good. Like how do you guys actually take this from like concept now to actually building out the character from some of this concept art?
Yeah, you know, once we have alignment between the design direction that we want to go, we understand kind of roughly mechanically and from a design perspective where we want it to be and where we want it from an art direction standpoint. We sit down with each department and we actually roll out the idea. We pitch them, you know, and we're like, hey, this is what we're thinking, and really get them to understand where we're trying to head so that when they go off in their crafts and make the best work that they possibly can make, the sum of all the parts end up with a killer class like the Spiritborn.
Collaboration's a big thing, and you know, it really starts with the character art department. They take these like 2D images and bring them to life in 3D. They will start to figure out materials, the fine details of how our armor's crafted, to like big silhouette shapes. One of the interesting things about this class is we started to recognize that like the helms, the gauntlets, the belts were really great places to like hone in on those like visual elements.
Belts. They talk
and another
about
nice
belts
thing
like
is,
we get to wear
the armor
belts.
really started to kind of come into the
I
space of
want
being very
belts.
functional and practical. You'll notice that like the legs are kind of open, the upper body's kind of open, it's because we're making a really fast, agile class. So we want everything to kind of line up. And like Brent said, like they don't need to be fully armored. They are protected by the Spirit Guardians. Their offense is their defense, and it shows when you play it. Speaking of fast and agile, we move to Tech Art. Tech Art really is the team that will kind of find what our
Awkward
our
segue.
limits are and kind of allow us to break them a little bit. So they do a lot of range of motion tests. They're trying to figure out how we can get really dynamic poses, really dynamic lines of actions, and we want to push that because this class really needs us to kind of be in the spot where we're like kind of pushing the boundaries of what we've done normally.
Yeah, it's awesome because like you guys mentioned like super like hypermobile class and you know, so the apex predator in the jungle itself, like how do you put that towards something like animation now, like getting the character to move and kind of telegraphing that through that animation?
Yeah, you know, like one of the key elements here is making sure that we have a combat archetype that's unique. So if you take a look at the original 5 classes, each one of them has a very distinct style. And so when we were thinking about the Spiritborn, we naturally went to martial arts. And what does that mean for the movement through the jungle? And actually,
Right,
I
the
feel
monk.
like we found a really good pairing there.
Yeah, like the animation team, like they went crazy with reference. They were looking at Muay Thai, Taekwondo, kickboxing, boxing, karate. There was a stunt woman that did these amazing like reference materials that we saw. And the really interesting thing here is we're not trying to like just mimic a martial arts style. We're really trying to find the best pieces of them and seeing where they fit. How can we manipulate them? How can we rearrange them in ways that make a really unique and interesting fighting style for the Spiritborn? Once the animation team has that, and like they, you know, again, they have a wide range of options that they're looking at, they start to figure out like where it fits for each guardian. So, for example, the gorilla is blunt force, lots of strength. The jaguar is cleaves, multi-hit combos, aggression. The centipede is like open palm strikes for applying poisons and unearthing things from the ground. And the eagle is about really precision movements and repositioning on the battlefield. So like they nailed it when it came to that.
You know, honestly, it's like the combination of all the things that we put together.
Don't
we've
tell
been
me
talking
what
about.
they're
It's
used
like
for.
we've
I'll
almost
figure
invented
out
our
what they're
own
used
martial
for.
arts style for Diablo, and we'd been talking about
Use them
this
for
in
your
the
own
last few days with all the
styles, you know
people
what I
that we
mean?
met with, and they actually said, "Hey, does it have a name?" And currently it doesn't. So like for those of you at home, if you got ideas,
Check out the you know the Spiritborn gameplay and like you know if you have names, suggestions, like
yeah, we got to
we're all
name this
ears.
thing.
That's right.
Exactly, we're all ears.
That's right.
Well, we've heard about you know concept and we've heard about character art, tech art, and now we just heard about animation. I always call it kind of like the frosting on the cake, and that is kind of VFX, and that makes everything kind of.
And we're
pop
gonna
a
get
little
into
bit. How
some
does
gameplay
VFX
after
actually
this,
play into
but-
something like the Spiritborn?
Yeah, you know, at this point, VFX is really they're an amazing bridge between like gameplay and the visuals of the game. And they had a really important lift, which was to try to figure out like, how do we represent like the spirit realm and these like elemental spirit guardians like together? What is that fantasy and what is that story we're telling? So Eleni mentioned earlier that like there's this veil, right? So we needed to understand like, how do you get the jaguar, for example, to like come through this veil, show up in Sanctuary and exit through the veil? So visually, we're looking at like, what is the spirit realm? So we have this like kind of bluish white mist. They come in through the veil. That bluish white mist kind of like trails off of them. They become physical. The jaguar is now engulfed in flames. This spirit guardian. It kills everything on the screen that you can like that's around it, and then it exits through that veil and kind of like transitions into that blue-white mist again. That's a fantastic story for us to tell. And it also allows us to start to understand like what are our pieces with the VFX and how to then ramp up our basic skills to be maybe lean a little more into the elemental side, our core skills. We start to like kind of blend the two together. You know, maybe it's like the gorilla fish show up and they look like that spirit element. And then they, you know, but then you go into the ultimates where it's just like our spectacles like ramped up. And to be honest with you, like when it all comes together, like there is a feel to this class that is really awesome. Kind of like inherently martial arts has a rhythm and a cadence to it. This class has that. It's fantastic to look at. You feel it when you play it, and the art team, they killed it. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I gotta give another shout out.
It's
to
looking
the
good so
Diablo
far,
4
that's
art
for
team.
sure.
Absolutely killed it. The Spiritborn is fantastic. It's great to look at, great to play. But Nick, thank you so much for walking us through the creation of the Spiritborn. Reminder for everyone watching from home, we'll actually be holding a Q&A at the end of today's Spiritborn Showcase, similar to how we always do with all our live streams. You can drop your questions in the Diablo Twitch chat, and we will try to get to as many of them as possible towards the end of the show.
Some more action. Okay. I mean, it almost kind of looks like they fixed Druid.
We've heard the lore, we've seen the art. Now let's get ready to talk about
By
some
not
gameplay.
fixing Druid and just making another
I'm
one.
excited to hear more about how this class actually plays. So next up, we have Bjorn Mikkelsen, class designer, on stage to talk about the gameplay for the Spiritborn. Bjorn is actually here to tell us more about the Spiritborn's overall class kit and design. And later on, we'll get into some itemization, which I know every fan wants to hear about because itemization is, of course, incredible, especially within Diablo. Bjorn, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I know Bjorn will be a fan favorite here because he's going to walk us through all the skills and the gameplay for how it works. So Bjorn, can you kick us off and tell us a little bit about this new class?
Absolutely. So yeah, just high level, what is this class? Excellent question. So basically what Spiritborn are, they are these jungle warriors who are empowered by the spirits. They're sort of this dexterity-focused class and sort of masters of martial arts.
Druids.
And hand-to-hand combat.
Monks.
And so what they do is ultimately all of their actions and their movements, they sort of resonate with the spirits to form sort of these unique combat styles as they're fighting. They sort of mix and match them to hit whatever sort of build they need.
Awesome. So if you are a current Diablo player right now, or let's say I'm a current Diablo player, which I am, I play a lot of Rogue or Barb, where would you kind of place the speed and aggression of the Spiritborn?
Yeah, I would say Spiritborn is definitely probably our fastest, most aggressive class. It's got multiple gap closers built into its basic attacks. It's got several movement skills, very high damage on those, as well as several ways to upgrade its evade skill as well. It's all about kind of getting on a target, sticking to it, and killing it.
Awesome. I know we had footage earlier of within the trailer of players actually being able, and we talked about this earlier, players being able to actually summon in these spirit guardians. So can you just summon a giant jaguar into battle or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of in addition to being these master martial artists, because they're empowered by these spirits, you'll see parts of the spirits, but then ultimately with the ultimates, the spirits themselves will show up on the battlefield and they'll empower you and deal damage.
And it's really the core of the fantasy, right? If we talk about power fantasies, summoning the god into battle is the power fantasy for this class. And one of the things
they
that
look
I
cool.
really
I'm
liked
ready.
about that is that we were getting a bunch of feedback early
Ready
on
for
about
October.
making ultimates more meaningful, and we were actually able to do that.
Not sure what
with
we're
this
gonna do for
class
season
ground up.
5.
Awesome. I know people are probably dying to know, okay, let's jump into some Spirit Guardians. So I think this is a great opportunity. Maybe we should start off with the Jaguar being the first one. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the Jaguar itself?
Sure. Yeah, starting off, Jaguar is a great one. Jaguar is, as we've kind of touched on before, it is sort of this manifestation of just the hunter. It's exhilaration, it's violence, it's aggression. It's attacking repeatedly, kind of just constant pressure as it's going. It's got these ramping mechanics to it. It's got lots of kill streaks. Mechanically speaking, the way we've kind of translated this, its primary focus is attack speed, and it chases that through a new keyword and mechanic that we call ferocity. This is a stacking buff that it can generate, usually via Jaguar skills, that will increase the attack speed of all of its skills, but it will also enhance other Jaguar skills so you can use them more often, reduce their cooldowns, that sort of thing.
It sounds fun, but then it turns
Moving on
right
to an
into
example, I guess, of a Jaguar skill. First
a
off,
cap.
here's
It's
where
all
we have
capped.
Ravager. This is a new type of skill we're adding to the game called Incarnate skills. They all have a passive and active effect. This one allows you to maintain your ferocity at just a minimum level, so you're all just a little bit fast. But then when you activate it, you kind of go full Jaguar mode. It gives you additional attacks, kind of like whenever you hit something, it does an extra strike. So it can even turn like skills that are like deal a little bit less damage, they can now deal extra damage just whenever you hit something. Moving on to another skill, we have Rushing Claw. This one is the Jaguar's kind of primary mobility skill. It will dash you through a target and slash everything along the way. And the key to this one is you can kind of use it over and over and over again, like multi-strike your enemies. And then finally, of course, we have the ultimate, the Hunter. This will actually manifest the Jaguar onto the battlefield. You'll leap through the air. It's also a movement skill. And when you land, the Jaguar will destroy everything. And it also has upgrades to kind of help chase the kill streak vibe. There's a chance to reset the cooldown after you kill something with it.
Oh, you leap with that one. That's pretty cool.
If you look at all of these things as a package, you start to see almost a combat archetype built into each Guardian themselves. And that was actually something that was really important to us. So if you were speccing into the Jaguar, it's important to those types of players who do want to keep the attack speed up, that do want to keep their kill streaks going. And you're going to see this as like a through line that each particular Guardian will have their own
Blizzard's
thing.
live reveal
I'm
here.
a huge fan of
Spiritborn
the frantic
Reveal.
gameplay, and I will say I have a little bit.
I'm excited
of
to see
bias
what
towards
they got for
Jaguar,
the
sure,
ape.
I know we want to go on to the other Guardians for sure.
The old King Kong.
And for all our tanky friends out there, Bjorn, do you want to walk us through the Gorilla?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, moving on to the Gorilla. The Gorilla, core concept behind protection and defense. But it's not just like passive defense. This is a very active defensive play style where you're shrugging off the damage, but you're also returning it to your attacker. So it's really got this kind of core of like retribution also sort of built into it. Its core mechanic and stat that we work with is
but it doesn't
damage
move
reduction.
with you, so
It chases us in two ways.
probably pretty
One
good
is
for
through
bosses.
using block, sort of actively blocking damage, as well as a second new keyworded mechanic called Resolve. This is also a stacking buff, but this one falls off whenever you get hit, so it's really important to keep stacking it and kind of keep stealing yourself and building your Resolve back up, but as long as you have any stacks of it, you get the full damage reduction bonus. So moving on to just a couple examples for Gorilla skills. Starting off, we have Crushing Hand. This is their core spender skill. Kind of just does what it says. Will smash your enemies to pieces. Kind of neat thing about it is it's actually two separate attacks that kind of overlap in the middle. So you can sort of prioritize a single target and deal double damage to it. Another attacking skill that we have, this one's Payback. This one really leans hard.
They got the Spiritborn Reveal going on.
We have going on. This one will deal a large amount of damage, and that damage will ramp up the more something has hit you. So it's really good for just like ending a fight if you need to. But also like as things are hitting you, that will reduce its cooldown. So kind of you have this flow of like being able to sort of like end fights, but also kind of keep hitting as you go. And then
kind of like a Hulk smash right in the middle.
We have the ultimate skill, bringing in the Gorilla itself. The skill is called the Protector. It creates a large protected area on the battlefield that will grant you barrier while you're inside of it, as well as several other defensive bonuses that you can spec into with it. And the Gorilla will just smash any enemies that try to come and harm you while you're in it.
Yeah, if you like that bruiser archetype, like this is the build for you. It is definitely about that give and take of damage. I mean, you'd said it earlier. Anyone who's been looking for a tank or a tank-like build,
like
in
tanking
Diablo,
stuff to the
this is
face.
the one that you're going to want to spec into as a part of your kit.
Yeah, it sounds like a really unique way of being able to, especially for tank players, to like bring damage to enemies and stuff like that, which is so awesome. So
yeah,
next,
see,
onto
tank
our third
players like
Guardian.
me.
Of course, we have
He's talking
the
to me.
Eagle. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the Eagle?
Yeah, so the Eagle, kind of soaring above it all, we've got this Guardian that represents precision and accuracy and kind of finesse. Its ability, its freedom of movement, like a lot of the movement that the class has is very aggressive, very in your face, and the Eagle really is able to kind of take that to another level and kind of go wherever it wants.
You playing the first Descendant
today,
today, Lee?
Like extend its attacks to sort of pseudo-ranged playstyle. Allows it to really like prioritize a target and sort of like hit from anywhere. So its core stat that it cares about is movement speed. That allows it kind of, like I said, able to kind of go anywhere it wants and sort of tactically reposition on the battlefield. And it also has several ways to sort of amplify its evade skill, you know, adding damage, that sort of thing to it. So moving into just a couple examples, we of course have to start off with Soar. This is sort of Spiritborn's premier mobility skill. Takes you up into the air, out of the battle for a second, able to dodge mechanics with that if you need to, but also because the Eagle is all about kind of those big impacts as well, it will create a target area where you're going to come down. And
Yeah, I got a little
make those
Rocket
enemies
League
vulnerable so that
to
it just
play
amplifies
today.
the damage when you land. Moving
Play
on
a
to
few
another
hours of
example,
that, and then
we have Razor Wings. This is a
I'd like to
damaging
play a
skill,
game with ya.
for the Eagle. This one has kind of this
First
cool back and forth
Ascendant's
where it
right up
sends it
our
out,
alley.
allows you to hit something at range, but because it also returns to you, it sort of rewards you for the tactical positioning on the battlefield, so you can sort of line it up so it'll hit different things as it comes back. And then, of course, our ultimate skill, the Seeker, bringing in the Eagle itself to just annihilate your enemies with damage. You can cast it anywhere on the battlefield. It charges up and then blasts off. The blast can be upgraded to be a guaranteed critical strike, and while it's on the battlefield, it will also make everything vulnerable for you. This is also like one of the first ultimates that we have, which will have multiple charges, so you can kind of use it back to back or like prioritize a target with it, and there's like a lot of player agency with that.
Yeah, this is really for that tactical player, you know, where positioning is super important. You don't necessarily want to be constantly in the fray, so you still want to output that damage. Maybe you want to put it in a particular place in the encounter, but you can do it by going in and then you can get right back out. So for those players who really like that tactical positioning, that's what the Eagle is for.
Yeah, it seems like the Eagle gives you that extra freedom of like in mobility, so you can kind of move in and out, especially with things like Soar, which is sick to see for sure.
One of my favorites.
So unique for
The
Diablo
Eagle
4
might
for sure on that end.
be a little
last but not
meh.
least, of course, this is probably our most unique Spirit Guardian, and probably one that I'm sure a lot of people are like looking at and going like, oh, this has got to be crazy, and that is the Centipede. So Bjorn, how's the Centipede play out?
Yeah, so moving to the Centipede. The Centipede's very unique.
Yeah.
It represents this sort of abstract concept of the cycle of life and death, and the way we've kind of chosen to interpret that is that it's sort of this epicenter of attrition, but it's also like really about just kind of like this endless or inescapable sort of persistence. And that's like,
And they're really holding off on
bad for your
telling
enemy,
us like
but
gear
kind of really good for
slots.
you. So it kind of, its core mechanics that it works with that persistence is damage over time, poisoning, crowd controls, that sort of thing. But then it uses those things to sort of
What
empower and
weapons
sustain
they're
itself, so also
using.
like leeching life and that sort of thing.
I mean,
back
it's
to you,
clearly a
draining your
glaive,
enemies
right?
as you kill them. So moving on to just a quick example, Stinger is our core skill for the Centipede. This one does a large amount of damage in a small area in front of you, but the sort of interesting thing about it is that that damage will also echo out to any nearby poisoned enemies. So it kind of has this adaptive, like, dynamic range that it has, sort of depending on like how much you've been spreading your
Stinger,
poisons
that's
around
the one
field.
we saw
So it can like basically like hit the whole screen if you really
testing
want to.
live in the
Another skill
office.
example that we have would be Scourge. Scourge kind of takes that sort of like oppressive control that the Centipede has, and it will fear and it will slow and poison enemies and sort of disrupt any kind of like strategies they might have going on and just sort of allow you to turn the tables on them. And then finally, we have the ultimate skill, bringing in the Centipede itself onto the battlefield. This is the Devourer. Poison laser beams, globs of poison everywhere. Just the Centipede kind of wrecking the entire battlefield. It's got upgrades which will also allow it to instantly execute enemies who have been fully poisoned, sort of helping the cycle
Wish
of
they
life
just
and
showed
death
us
to
more
speed
than
up a
just
little
that. He
bit
says
there.
globs of poison
Yeah,
everywhere,
this
but
is
you don't see
clearly our
no
most
poison
Diablo,
anywhere.
Guardian that we have. It's becoming a fan favorite very quickly. Well, the people who have gotten a hands-on with it have a lot to say about it. But the cool thing about this one is we took on a really unique design challenge. Like, how do you take a concept of damage over time, dealing damage, regenerating life, and make that kind of the core of an entire archetype? I thought you guys did a fantastic job at getting it there. For those Type A players who really want to manipulate the field and keep that damage up and keep that resilience going, this is definitely that class for you.
Yeah, I have to call out. It's so crazy seeing a giant centipede behind me right now. But I know a lot of players at home are probably looking at each of these 4 Spirit Guardians and they're going like, "Hey, this is probably the one I'm gonna go with." Just seeing some of the gameplay and some of the play styles. But I think one big question that probably a lot of people have is, are you kind of forced to go down one of these, or can you actually do some mix and match, or how does that work?
You know, freedom of choice is really important for this class. So if you want to go all in on one of them, go for it. Like, there's no problem in doing that. There's benefits that you can see from it, but there's also benefits from mixing and matching. Like, we wanted adaptability and hybridization to be at the core of this class. So it's been a goal from the very beginning to actually get that there. So when you get hands-on with this, like, you're going to want to experiment. We want you to experiment. We know that there's going to be many builds that are very emergent, and I actually can't wait to see some of the cool stuff that people come up with once this goes live.
Yeah, exactly. Like, at its heart, Spiritborn is really all about like personalization, sort of expressing yourself. And so like, whichever spirit sort of resonates with you, we really want to allow you to mix and match them kind of to your heart's content, and sort of make that play style choice like fully customizable. And the primary way that we're doing that, or the main way that we're doing that, is the Spiritborn's class mechanic called Spirit Hall. The way the Spirit Hall works is you start your journey off by choosing one of 4 bonuses. At the top, the primary bonus. This is a like massive bonus that will add sort of a thematic effect to all of your skills of that type. So like an effect like the Jaguar will add extra strikes and that sort of thing to all your Jaguar skills. But a subtle but very important extra piece of this is that we'll also add that spirit's tag to your entire skill kit. So every single part of your skill kit now has the Jaguar skill. And so even if you want to use like centipede skills, you can still sort of hook into various parts of the Jaguar using this bonus. Then later on in your journey, you will unlock
they're probably
a
going to
second
nerf
bonus.
that.
This is a set of 4 distinct bonuses from the first. Each of these kind of has a tie-in with the sort of core mechanics of each of the spirits. So we mentioned before sort of the new keywords that we were introducing.
Blizzard's
like
gonna
Jaguar
nerf
has
that.
velocity, the Gorilla has resolve, those sorts of things. These give you an opportunity to sort of mix those into your kit, regardless of like if you are using those specific skills or not, and sort of like add that extra layer on top of your build. And when you're choosing these spirits, these can absolutely be the same. You can pick Gorilla and Gorilla, Jaguar, Jaguar, or you can mix and match them. And it's really important that like they all kind of flow and work together.
So if you look at the nesting doll effect that we have of your skill tree, your class mechanic, this can get complicated very quickly. And so one of the things that the team took on was this idea of finding what resonates most with each Guardian, and how do we create some level of overlap so that we can have some synergies between all of them.
Yeah, exactly. As we hit, like each of these has like very clear themes, right? You've got the Jaguar with its attack speed, you've got the Gorilla with its protection. You can definitely build into those, but it was important for us to sort of establish that these spirits, they don't exist like in isolation from each other. They have overlap. They have things that they both care about, and that allows us to sort of create these very hybrid-esque builds that work together. You know, just like an example, right? You've got like the Jaguar is a hunter. It's all about aggression and kind of chaos, and that's a thing. It loves that.
I mean, I'm excited
but
for
as
it.
a hunter, you are also
I'm
sort
not
of
gonna
providing,
lie.
you're also sustaining
I
yourself.
just don't want
which
to
is
see them
something that
nerf
the
it
Centipede
into the
also loves to
ground.
do. And
like
so
the
they both
Druid.
care about healing, and they both have like different hooks that they can do for that. And so you can really like, if you're looking to get more healing into your build, you can add some Centipede, you can add some Jaguar, mix them together, you can make an entire build about
But
healing.
it's Blizzard.
Centipede and Jaguar. These aren't like prescribing ways to build, but they're more so just
We'll
like
just have to find
they're
our own ways to
overlapping
have fun.
stats, that allow them to sort of communicate with each other. So just a couple examples. We have, for instance, if you want to build like the Gorilla, Gorilla's a lot of protection, Jaguar's a lot of sort of chaotic, constant damage. So when you mix those two together, you get this sort of like semi-tanky brawler who can just kind of go toe-to-toe with anything. And they sort of like dip into the stat of dodge, because dodge is a little bit inherently a slightly more RNG, a little bit more chaotic, kind of Jaguar, but it also kind of has that damage mitigation. And so you kind of combine them together and you have this very like retribution, but also fast-paced playstyle. Another example would be potentially if we think about like the Centipede and the Eagle. The Centipede's all about sort of debilitating your enemies and like making them weaker, and the Eagle's all about like kind of finding those weak points and like getting these high damage, you know, bursts off. So when you add those two together, they both care about vulnerable and sort of like turning the tables on all of your enemies. And so adding that together kind of creates this character that's sort of just able to like prioritize a target, weaken it, and then just like
I
pull
like
it from
having
the battle.
damage numbers up.
Yeah,
it just
it's,
looks empty
I'm
without
so glad
damage
Bjorn brought all
numbers.
these like really good examples for us. He's got a lot of footage for us to go through. It's awesome to see all these skills and how they work with the actual Spirit Guardians. And of course, the big popular topic that comes with every single class is itemization. And I know we have a lot to talk about with legendary aspects and some uniques as well. So Bjorn, Brent, like how does itemization work with Spiritborn?
Yeah, we all know that itemization is the heart of the game. right? And as we've been moving through our itemization journey with this game, we've had a really great opportunity to fold in all the feedback and how that applies to the Spiritborn as we've been developing. And one of the cool things that we did was took the opportunity to actually lean into the things that you get from items and see how they build into the spirit's abilities themselves. So we're going to show a few examples of that. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming, but we thought we'd do a really quick breakdown and show you what that looks like.
Yeah, so just hitting a couple examples, we have added this large suite of Spiritborn legendaries and uniques to the game. But just to break down kind of some of our thoughts as we were working with them, sort of the types of legendaries you can expect to see. One example, as we were just speaking about sort of these hybridization things, there's a lot of different stats in our game and sort of making them work together, not just like work together, but like be cool together. So we kind of have this category of items that will sort of interweave a couple of different stats. Secondly, we have our power augmentation legendaries. These just kind of let you take like your favorite skill and ascend it to its final form and just kind of like go crazy with it. And then thirdly, we have sub-powers. These are sort of things like, we think of them like
but what
rogue
weapons
grenades,
do we get to
barbarian dust
use?
devils. These are sort of things you can sort of build
How
around.
many
They're sort of almost
hands
like skills, but they don't exist
does
in your skill tree
these
as things you can put on your bar.
Spiritborn have?
And then finally, we
Barbarian's
have
got
our unique items,
6
which are
hands.
there to enable you to sort of make the craziest builds you can think of. So moving on to a couple examples, just kind of one for each real quick. We have Tormentors. This is an example of a hybridization legendary. This one interweaves poisoning and thorns together, kind of in an interesting way that'll allow you to apply your thorns, in a different way than just like having something hit you all the time. It's great. You can probably see the connection. Gorilla, Centipede, they'll love this sort of thing. Moving on to an example of a power augmentation, we have Bristling Vengeance. This takes the payback seal that we kind of hit on before. Usually it's like a smaller AoE like right in front of you that just hits one enemy, but this one really allows it to sort of like extend its range, hit multiple enemies, as well as apply your thorns over an area. And then thirdly, we have an example of one of our sub-powers. This one's called a Pestilent Swarm. The cool thing that we're kind of trying to out with each of our sub-powers is there are multiple legendaries for them, and they sort of allow you to customize how they work. So there's like one that'll let your Pestilent Swarm like poison enemies, one that'll make it spiral, one that'll even make it orbit. You can sort of like combine those, like you can have it orbit and spiral, or poison. You can just have it shoot off, kind of whatever works for your build.
That's pretty cool.
We really
I
want
like these
people to be able
swarms.
to experiment and play with those sub-powers. And then just a couple of teasers, some of our uniques. These are some unique boots.
Sword deals
that basically
50%
allow you to override
multiplicative
your
increased
evade
damage.
skill with soar. Just
Your
get the
evade is
ultimate
now
amount
soar.
of mobility you can think of. The neat thing about that is also that
And it
allows
gives you more
to actually,
evade
like, to take
charges
soar
on the
off your bar
boots. And if they're unique
let it
boots,
go,
it'll
but
always have
at least
more
kind of
evade
keep it with you
charges.
in that
That's what's
evade
up.
slot.
Okay.
And then another example would be our unique
And
order
cooldown
stat,
reduction?
which is one of the 2 weapons we're adding with the Spiritborn. This one sort of allows you to ramp up your basic attacks. Spiritborn's basic attacks are a little bit special. They're kind of really cool. They're these 3-hit combos, and each 3rd hit does like a special thing. And this specific unique basically lets you get that 3rd attack all the time. So then we have to take their 3rd attack and make it a triple version that almost turns them into a different skill entirely.
Yeah, this is awesome. Seeing all the couple of examples of uniques. As Brent mentioned, this is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
I personally would take the soar boots all day. Being able to use soar as an evade is absolutely
Those
amazing.
sword boots are
But I
insane.
want to give a huge thanks to Bjorn for walking us through all the skills, especially associated with the Spirit Guardians, and of course the itemization across the whole entire class. We will actually have an extensive look for the entire community after the show on our blog. It will provide a great amount of detailed mention here immediately following the stream,
Yeah,
so you can
those
check
sword
it out
boots,
and do
though.
a deeper dive with
Holy
the Spiritborn
cow.
yourself. Now we're going to bring back everyone to get into our Q&A for all things Spiritborn.
Another little video while they tag people out. We'll stick around for the Q&A too. Gung jigga 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 gung jigga jigga gung 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 jigga 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 gung jigga 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 gung jigga 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 gung.
Now we're ready for our community Q&A where we'll answer your burning questions for all things Spiritborn. If you have questions, again, please drop them in Twitch chat and we'll try to get through as
Yeah,
many
funny
as
food can do
possible
that to
through
you.
the whole entire Q&A process. Thank you guys for joining us. We did some musical chairs to get everyone back up here during that quick little interstitial. I know as questions are coming up.
You gotta have like
one
20 people
big
behind the
question that
scenes over
everyone
there
always
moving
asks,
chairs
I
and
know
stuff.
We've probably seen it a million times in chat already, is like, hey, we have the Spiritborn. This is a brand new class. Why not something like a class from a prior game, like a paladin?
Yeah, where's the paladin?
Yeah, right out of the gate, right?
Right out of the gate.
You know, when we started off, one of the key things that were really important to us was to make sure that the class came from the place that we were going. We also knew that, you know, we did a really good job at revisiting classic archetypes like the Barbarian and the Necro. And so we were in this position where doing something
forget
new
about where you came from,
was
though.
a great opportunity. It was something that allowed us to inject some fresh gameplay in, and going after the Spiritborn was a wider palette to play with. And so making sure that we were building something from the ground up from Nahantu was really the driving factor of this, and we're very proud of where we landed at today.
Awesome. Another question that this is everyone. This is the first time you guys are explaining. This is everyone's favorite moment where I butcher Twitch names like no other. But Arcphoenix asks, wait, the lore, like where have the Spiritborn been in D3, D2? Why are they not fighting Mephisto themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. Like this is a religion that has been building up over time. They're a little more secluded, and really one of the things that we looked at is like the early exploration of Akarat, right?
Yeah.
Like there wasn't much development that was going in, so that was like a new frontier for us to work with.
Yeah, and in general, the Spiritborn, which you'll notice when you do play the game, they are very scattered throughout Nahantu. It's not like they have this massive presence where you walk in and you're like, there they are. You know, it's like a little different than that. They're hidden, they're in the jungle, and they don't necessarily want to be seen. And this has sort of been the idea this entire time. It takes a lot of devotion to be a Spiritborn. This isn't something that you can hop in and out of. So when we talk about being a Spiritborn, these are people who have devoted their entire lives to be doing this one thing, and that's what they're doing in Nahantu. They're not exploring really.
I know we've actually gotten a few questions about this specific.
Well, they're going to be exploring now.
Pretty good question for Bjorn and Nick, because a lot of people have noticed, like, hey, quarterstaff and new weapons. Like, what are the new weapon types for Spiritborn specifically?
Sure. Yeah, Spiritborn's bringing 2 new weapons with it. First off, we have the glaive, kind of its premier weapon that you see in all the key art. That's really the weapon for like a hunter. It's great for like taking down priority enemies. It's got built-in elite damage, that sort of thing. And then the second weapon we're adding is the quarterstaff. This is a faster weapon that they can use to even sort of like add like block chance and that sort of thing to it. So it's almost like a little bit of a pseudo-defensive weapon, but it's also got very high attack speed.
Yeah, from a fantasy standpoint, it was really cool to like try to create weapons that made sense for, again, like Brent mentioned, like where the class is from. So like, you know, a glaive makes a lot of sense for like cutting through the jungle, you know, being an aggressive weapon, being an attack-based weapon. The quarterstaff is really cool because it's like,
I'm into the glaive,
you could
though.
imagine like, how do they train with this? They probably found like really strong.
I think he said the
branches from, like,
quarterstaff
trees that were
comes
really
with
important to them, and they start
defense,
to,
like a
train
block
with that,
chance
and
on
eventually
it.
they kind of start to perfect that craft,
Intrinsic
that bow
block
staff.
chance.
So there's a lot of really cool fantasy that we can.
The
like,
glaive
our
comes
team
with
can dig into.
intrinsic damage to
Yeah,
elites.
Like just to be frank,
pretty
like
cool.
we're talking about a martial arts class, like
Yeah.
having the bow staff or the glaive to like really extend some of those key poses that we got with the martial arts stuff that we put into the game. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's awesome to see like new weapons for the Spiritborn with Vessel of Hatred. So another question that we have here, this is from Bucko351. Easy name. Question, what's the difference between the Spiritborn and the Druid class? The Druid class currently has bonds with like the stag, the wolf, the eagle, and the snake. Like what's kind of the changes between that and something like the Spiritborn?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Spiritborn, you're not necessarily turning into this animal that we're talking about. This is a spirit guardian that lives in the spirit realm, and you're channeling this spirit guardian, and the manifestation that we're talking about is what comes out. So when we talk about like ferocity or something, that's something that you see in the jungle, right? So you have this jaguar that's recognizable, and that's this manifestation. It's the best way to show that. So if we had a different belief, then it would manifest in a different way. Versus the druid, you sort of really encompass the entire animal.
And you see that in the gameplay quite a bit, where I think, Nick, you were mentioning before, where it's like, yeah, I have this bond with the centipede. When I call him in, I call the centipede in to deal with this side of the combat, and then I go off and I start managing the other side of the combat. So you really see this like combat partnership between the Guardians and the Spiritborn, which is incredibly unique.
We got a question here from Kat the Dewey. They're asking, we've seen 4 Spirit Guardians. Are there other Spirit Guardians that were considered potentially?
Yeah, look, I'll spill the beans. I'll talk about it. You know, when we're choosing the spirits, we played around with a lot of concepts. Super abstract stuff that weren't animal-based. We talked about, okay, if I'm from the jungle, these things would probably represent things I know, which brought us to animals. And when we think about protection and strength, we originally had some conversations around an elephant. Like, what does an elephant mean? If there's a animal that represents like family
Elephant spirit, that would have been cool.
The elephant is one of those. The gorilla was also being talked about at the same time, and they mean the same thing. So when we looked at them side by side, that really came down to like which one can convey the best powers, what gives you the right movement and visuals that you would need for the power set itself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was
go
going
ahead.
to say, like, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out, like, there's a lot of collaboration, and sometimes art will inform design, design will inform art. So I think this is a great spot where, like Brian was saying, like, we're looking at a lot of different things, but like when you think about Nahantu, when you think about like the canopy of the jungle, and you start thinking about how does that protect what's in the jungle, like the gorilla just made a lot of sense, like thematically. So like we start to find those moments, right? And you think about the centipede, it's like there's like the ground and the roots of the jungle, like what comes up, there's insects. So, you know, we spent a lot of time like exploring that. But when you think about the gameplay connection, poisons, fears, right? The centipede, that this like life and death kind of cycle they talked about, like the centipede makes a lot of sense. So we really start to try to connect the dots in really interesting ways. And those are the ones that really stick.
Fictionally, the idea that these things are created based on human beliefs, we believe in more than 4 things, right? So the idea that we could expand this out well beyond the class, we've developed more lore than you're actually going to see in the game for the Spiritborn, because we want this thing to live beyond just Diablo 4.
Awesome. I know this one's a little bit for Bjorn. We'll test his skill knowledge here, but a question from Churney Fire was, does the echoing poison effect work on enemies not poisoned by you? Is there like a radius limit? Like, how does it work specifically?
Yeah, there's a small radius limit to it, but that can be extended through things like tempering and that sort of thing. It will do any poisoned enemies on the screen.
Oh, nice. That sounds crazy. So yeah, and then we have a question from Crawling Out of the Spiral. This one's a lore question specifically. Did Mephisto know about the veil between Sanctuary and the Spirit Realm, and like the corruption within the jungles during Diablo 2? Like, was he able to sense it during that time? I know we had talked about like the Spirit Realm being this pure and like untouched place. So.
Yeah, we can definitely assume that Mephisto knew there was something there. When it comes to the lore of Nahantu, there are a lot of protection that happened during Mephisto's corruption. He wasn't able to break through the veil, so that is something that, you know, that's why it's so dire now. But definitely he had this feeling for sure.
Question for not MVP. How does the resource for the Spiritborn work? Do they generate it like passively, or how does that work specifically?
Sure. The Spiritborn's primary resource is called Vigor. It does not inherently recharge passively. You'll generate it by using your basic attacks. But sort of like the key with Spiritborn being very customizable, like one of the first choices that you'll be able to make in your tree with your basic attacks is you can sort of like customize like how you will build the spirit beyond that, whether it's like by poisoning enemies or by blocking damage, that sort of thing, to really like kind of make the resource work the way you want it to work. And then later on, there are also some uniques that will allow you to further customize sort of like how your build influences the resource generation.
I still like
I
those
know
sore boots.
people, we just talked about the weapons and stuff, and there's like follow-up questions of like, are the Spiritborn only using two-handed weapons for this class?
Yes.
The short answer.
Yes. They are.
Yes.
The other question that we're getting is, is there like a special quest for before you can actually start a Spiritborn or create a Spiritborn? Are there quests that are maybe specific to the class itself?
Yeah, well, we're going to definitely be introducing the class mechanic similarly to the way that we introduced it with the other classes. As far as the beginning of the story is concerned, you know, we really want to jump straight in.
So can it only use quarterstaff and glaive?
The chapter of hatred, right? Like what happened when Narel left. We want to jump right into it, get right back into the story.
That sounds
so we're
kind
going
of
to pick up from the perspective
limited.
where Narel left off.
Awesome. That was a question from Agar. I forgot to throw out the name. I do want to give people shout outs when they do actually ask the names. The Grim Knot asks, does the Spiritborn have ties maybe with the Witch Doctor in any type of way from Diablo 3?
Not at all. When Brent is talking about creating something new, that's what we wanted to do with the Spiritborn. That also meant really diving into lore and figuring out a separation for freshness. We wanted to still bring in things that were familiar from D2 and just lore in general that we know about, but when it comes to the Spiritborn class and the traditions of the Spiritborn, they're very new. You get a chance to explore it in the game, and you'll see that they're very different.
Awesome. Azeron Blood Moon asks, how much is the monk inspired into this the gameplay of the Spiritborn?
You know, it's we always look back and we can find like
Where are monks and witch doctors? Where are those at?
I think when you play the class, you'll see it's extremely different. It's so unique, it's so fresh, and it kind of carves its own space in our kind of lineup that after an inspirational point, maybe of looking at like martial arts at just the core, it just kind of goes off in its own direction and kind of redefines that space.
We're gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I definitely want to add to that. Is like I don't want to be shy about the fact that we know what works mechanically in the game, and so we're constantly looking at inspiration for the existing classes, for the new classes, on what works best.
Mm-hmm.
Take that inspiration and then like take a right turn and actually amplify it or take it into a slightly new direction that makes it very different.
I know we have time for one more question. This is a question for everyone here. What is everyone's favorite spirit? I've already revealed mine, which is Jaguar. But like, what is everyone's favorite spirit guardian here for the Spiritborn?
I mean, I can start. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say 2. I love the Jaguar as well, but it's just a little bit too chaotic for me, like inherently. And so I love to just like mix the Eagle in there as well, just for a little bit more control, a little bit more like freedom.
Gorilla. I mean, when I saw it show up on screen, beat its chest, and it was just awesome. It was like, that's it.
I knew it. We're like wrestling buds, you know, where we talk about wrestling all the time. I'm not surprised Nick is about like the gorilla. Not surprised.
My favorite guardians are Quatli, the eagle, and Balazon, the centipede. I just love the poison, and it's sick. Like, it looks crazy.
Yeah, for me, Jaguar, like it started with that iconic piece. Yeah, sorry, we're gonna have to share a little bit.
Hold on a second.
But like the movement, it's such a pace changer for the game. Like once you get into it, it's got a very addictive flow, and so I'm all in on the Jaguar.
Well, it's awesome to hear everyone's favorite Spirit Guardians. I do want to thank you all for jumping in for this Q&A. Before we do close out the stream, we did want to let everyone know that we'll be sharing more about Vessel of Hatred at Gamescom this year on August 20th. But you'll actually have a chance to attend Gamescom yourself and play the Spiritborn in person. We're actually sending 5 lucky players to Cologne, Germany to play the Spiritborn at our Gamescom booth in person. Make sure to check out our Instagram at PlayDiablo and read our blog for full details on the contest after the show. Everyone on the Diablo team is incredibly excited for you to check out the new class coming with Vessel of Hatred on October 8th. And of course, you can pre-purchase the expansion now. Stick around to check out our Diablo creators, Rax, Woody, Macro Bioboy, and Fame. They're actually upstairs right now, streaming live here at Xbox Studios with Spiritborn gameplay. Also, shout out to Xbox Studios for hosting us. We really appreciate it. And of course, you can check out Kind of Funny Games after the stream, where they'll be live chatting with Rod Ferguson, GM of the Diablo franchise. Brent, Eleni, Nick, Bjorn, thank you for being here to walk us through the Spiritborn. And thank you all and everyone at home for tuning in. We'll see you in Nahantu.
Oh, wonder if he's on YouTube Live. Rob is. Rax isn't. He's on Twitch.
Let's go like this. Let's go like this.
Oh no, he is on Twitch.
Options,
Or he is on
sound.
YouTube Live.
Let's try, I don't know. Let's try 20 maybe? I'm gonna go hit something. Tell me if it's, you want the volume up or down. Is it up or down for the volume?
Rax playing in the Xbox Studios.
Down. Let's try 10. Okay, let's try again.
Not ready yet.
How is that? Up or down from there? That's good. Okay. Move my camera back. Thank you. And so what I'm going to do here is I actually have builds already made. It's only going to take me 2 minutes. And then we're going to get to play like the new areas. And we're going to go do it real quick. So I'm going to do this as fast as I can. It's going to go real quick. The balancing, they have not gotten this perfect, or they haven't done the balancing patch yet. So some things are much stronger than others. And I'm going to show you the centipede, which literally destroys everything instantly. So the reason why I want to put these powers on first is so you can actually see what a build would look like. We're actually almost done already. This is, of course, the new town that we're going to do. And then let's just put some tanky stuff here. Let's just go Might, Juggernaut, and Undying, and then we're ready to go. Let's go like that. I already put on Juggernaut, right? Might, and then Undying, and then we go. Okay. Did I touch grass today? Today is not the day to touch grass, my friend. Today is the day to play the expansion. Okay, let's go. This should be the full poison build. I want to move this skill over here. Okay. I want to move this like this. Let's go.
All right, let's see a poison build.
I'm going to show you everything. We got 2 hours. I'll show you everything. This is just the first area. Okay, ambush, no problem. My centipede will kill everything. We only get to play the first area. They block you from going forward. So why don't we try one of the new dungeons first, then we'll try a stronghold. We'll try everything. I'll show you everything. By the way, we're frozen at level 30. This is a level 30 character. We cannot gain XP. Otherwise, we would just go blast XP. Let's go try one of the new dungeons. You can see all the new surroundings. One of the things that's a little bit different about
A lot of spiders in the jungle.
the original Diablo 4 game is there's way more colors to it. Like when you're actually moving around, you see like jungle and vegetation and greens, whereas everything before was just red and black and brown and desolate. So this expansion definitely gives a lot more color. Like even right here, like you can see like it's got more color than the original game. Another thing you'll notice is there's like different markers. I've noticed like there's different, like for example, there's different values and breakpoints for things. So something's got to be happening here that they haven't shared with us yet. Some kind of.
Does that say 93 life?
What, but something. So Centipede is going to be super powerful. It's not going to be as mobile, but it just obliterates everything. I guess let me show you the skills. Stinger they already covered. Small area, poisons people. Withering Fist, we're going to dart people. The third attack bursts at the target, it slows them. This is our Soar is Jumpy Boy. Touch of Death, we're going to infect all of our enemies, everything about poison. And then Toxic Skin, you can just throw poison everywhere, kind of like a Blaze Sorcerer in Diablo 2. Everything's about poisoning everything. Nothing can survive. They have no chance at all. Okay, I actually can't see my cursor. Look how tiny you see how tiny my cursor is? Holy cow. Can I change that? I am out of vigor. Dude, that's the tiniest cursor I've ever seen. So, I can't even see my cursor scale. Let's go large, high contrast, save. Oh, there we go. And then we go like this. Volume down, volume down. Okay, volume down, no problem. Escape, options, sound, volume down, my ears. I save that. Is that better? Let's try it now. I cut out 30% of the volume. Tell me if this is better for you. I don't think I can turn the mic up. So if anything, I'm just gonna have to turn the volume further down. Can you hear me fine? Is it fine? Let's turn off IT mode here. A bit more down. Okay. A bit more down on the effects. Okay. Okay, what about that? Let's try this now. Is that better, guys? It's fine. Okay, let's go like this then. I'm going to turn off IT mode. Okay, let's explore the dungeon. Can I open this door yet? Yep. Locked. Okay. Did I just open a door to get to a door that I can't open?
Nice.
Oh, God, dude.
Get trolled.
Dude, I just got trolled so bad there.
Get trolled. Anybody want to play any games? I'm just watching some Spiritborn content.
So the sword can jump over terrain, of course. I shouldn't have said that. Let's wait for it to come back up. You might be wondering, oh, can you actually use it to jump down? Yes, you can. So this is, again, probably one of the least mobile. Some of you might be wanting to see the loot. Let's pick up the loot. I think it's just normal yellows, but just to show you. Okay, dexterity, damage, resource, cost reduction, kind of basic things here. Could also try tempering. I didn't even think of that. I should have read that manual. I wonder if that manual was a Spiritborn specific manual.
It was Elemental Surge. He doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, the Centipede is pretty amazing. There's just so much damage here and there's so much poison. These guys just have absolutely no chance. Like, it's just pure destruction. I think the Centipede right now is by far the strongest archetype.
He's streaming at Xbox Studios right now.
Like, I had some boss fights on the Jaguar that were kind of tough. And then I went with the Centipede and I literally killed him.
Using a straight poison build.
Okay, let's actually read this. Is this a... Okay, this is a Spiritborn manual. Okay, that's cool. I never actually saw that. Well, they said ahead of time they haven't done the balance patch yet, so they said don't worry about it. I also believe we are not playing the most.
This is a really cool dungeon too.
So they have already fixed a lot of stuff that might be broken here. All right, here we go. Holy God, look how strong these guys are. Need more time. You guys remember at the start of Diablo 4 when... Oh, look at the Centipede.
Wow.
Look at the Centipede's damage. Oh my...
Wow.
Did you see that? Dude, you see what my
Conduit did nothing compared to his Centipede.
Oh
Holy
God,
crap. Keep that in the game.
So, the Centipede's pretty good. Put the master volume to 5. All right, Lee says it's still too loud.
God, his chat is so whiny.
Still too loud.
He's on Xbox Studio computers and stuff.
Okay, so what else should we do? I want to show you everything. So what's the next cool thing we could do? Why don't we go do a...
There's not a lot he can do.
Well, that guy was my brother. So let's see how it sounds when I get into chat. Or not in a chat, into a fight, I mean. Sorry. Yeah, it's not making any noise as we just ride on through. Wait a minute. Can these guys cross this line? Wait a minute. Huh. Wonder what the point of this is. All right, let's kill him. Let's give him a centipede. Oh, they're all dead. Fried. You know, you can just... Dude, let's check out a cellar. Is this a cellar? No, this is a Tree of Whisper. Never mind, I got you baited. Okay. Back onto the cat. Okay, we have another dungeon we could do. Let's go do the stronghold. Does the map have Lilith statues? That's a good question. Oh, we need to ask. The game director is going to come up here and join us, I believe, in a little bit. When he's here, let's ask him if the renown extends. If you need to do the renown into the next thing. All right.
What was the new place called? Naratu?
Let's see if this event is different. Let's just stand here and do absolutely nothing as our centipede Kamehamehas the entire room. All right, what's this? Caravan under siege. All right, that's probably not so exciting. We've seen that. We've seen stuff like that before, right? Let's carry on to the stronghold. That's probably what you really want to see. Looks like we're in a hell tide right now as well. Okay, here we go. Oh, can I go in?
What is this?
Can I teleport in? Easy. Okay. My ads are so loud, I don't choose the volume of my ads. I'll give you a wild guess. If I were able to choose the volume of my ads, can you guess what volume I would set them at? Imagine us being able to choose the volume of our ads. Yeah, but the centipede is just so comfy to play because, as you can see, the poison is spreading so severely to everything. I can't survive. It's not even a matter of defense at this point. Everything is so poisoned and destroyed. Oh, that's a new icon. I like that. The big red boss icon or something.
I like playing with poison though.
Okay, what do we need to do here? Okay, I assume we go to the purple skulls. Seems logical. All right. Nope, they're poisoned. They're dead. Another thing is if you fully poison something, let's see if I can demonstrate this. Nope, I killed it instantly. My bad. If you can fully poison something and summon your centipede will insta-execute it. It's gone. You don't have to wait for them to die. It'll probably be pretty significant in the later game. In the early game, they just die so quickly anyway. Probably doesn't seem as strong as it actually will be. I can tell you a little secret. I don't think there's any issue with me saying this. I've heard from some people that have played, you know, internal builds further than this, that some of the other legendary powers or uniques are actually like completely build defining. That they make certain things for the different spirit guardians so crazy powerful that, as cool as this may sound, it's kind of like, imagine a druid without Tempest Roar. You know, it just doesn't do anything until you actually become Werewolf Tornado Man. So they said that they put a good amount of effort into the uniques, so when you get them, it will kind of transform your entire experience. Okay, what do I need to do here? Do I need to...
Welcome, Lewis.
Up further? Let's go this way. Maybe it's up here?
Or Louise, sorry.
It's this way.
It's probably Louise.
Is this better than any other class? So I don't know how it looks to you guys visually. it doesn't always maybe look the same as sitting in the chair playing it. I can tell you as someone who is playing it and has played it since yesterday.
Check it out some
Definitely feels
Spiritborn
very
content.
good. It definitely has a polish to it. It feels like there has been a team working on it for a year straight. It feels like it's had more attention than the other 5 classes. It's very punchy when you play it. It's very responsive. You're watching me play a level 30 character with level 1 powers with no good stats and no movement speed, yada yada yada. No uniques, you get what I mean? When you get the full thing, you're gonna be able to absolutely fry everything. Okay, boss, how would you like to meet my centipede? Oh, okay, dead. Okay. No problem. I'm telling you, everyone was saying their favorite spirit animals. No one was talking about the centipede. I was like, are you guys kidding me? All right, let me look at the time here. I want to show you all 4. I have a build for all 4. So this is my poison centipede build.
Not ready yet.
Did I just teleport through the overgrowth that was trying to stop me? Okay. Here we go. Big fight, big fight. Okay, my centipede's back. So the centipede isn't the tankiest. Oh, okay. That guy's dead. Okay. Oh, okay. I won. Well, my build's pretty good. My build's pretty good. All right. We won, I think. Okay. Okay, stronghold cleared. Oh, nice. My reward for clearing the stronghold is getting ambushed. Love that. All right. Well, why don't we go let's try a cellar. Let's see if the cellars are different in the expansion. This is the expansion. This is the first zone. If you guys haven't seen, look. There's more, obviously, but it's blocked. We can't go further. Believe me, I tried to jump over it, but it doesn't work. I tried. Check the inventory. There's the inventory. Seems to be the same, unless I'm missing something.
Oh, Spiritborn only has 2 hands,
Cellar,
folks.
and then let's try another new dungeon, I guess, and then we can go do. We got 4 builds,
So
we can
sad.
go do the other stronghold on another build. Okay, how do I get to this cellar? Okay, this is actually interesting. How do I get there? Let's ride around. Maybe we climb up a cliff or something. Let's go this way. Open the skill tree. You want to know what I'm going to do? That's a great idea. I'm going to show you the entire skill tree so we can theory craft later. Let's do this real quick for 1 minute. I'm going to mouse over everything and we can slow it down later. I'm going to mouse over everything. We can slow it down later in theory craft. How does that sound? That seems smart, right? Just real quick, one time, I apologize. I know this is boring, but now we can theory craft by pausing it and slowing it down later. Bear with me for 60 more seconds, please. While we move through here. You're going to see the other builds that I'm going to play are very different than this. A lot of them have way more mobility. A lot of them are way tankier. It actually really matters which Spirit Guardians you pick and how you mix and match it. It makes a huge difference. Okay, and we're almost done here. We'll have this for later. Almost done. We can take a look at the key passives here. Your critical strikes cause enemies to burst 100% of the total poisoning on them as poison damage around them. So if you crit poisoned enemies, it's huge explosions. Every 3rd consecutive cast of the same basic skill increases all skill ranks by 2. Every 3rd consecutive cast of the same core or potency skill reduces all of your cooldowns by 10% and increase by 2% for each of their skill ranks. So
That's
skill
pretty good.
ranks up, cooldowns down. Adaptive stances. The base spirit of a skill cast grants equals 30% movement speed, 30% damage reduction, 30% attack speed, 30% life steal. Casting a skill of a different base spirit swaps to the new bonus and gives you 30% extra damage. Then Vital Strikes. You deal 100% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, so double damage. After making an enemy vulnerable, your next direct damage dealt to them is going to heal you, give you your resource back, and remove the vulnerable. So one very interesting question about that, about it removing the vulnerable, is how does that work in groups? Does it remove the vulnerable from other people applying it, from like the world boss? If the answer is yes, then, and it's like the strongest key passive, then one of the strongest groups might be every Spiritborn stealing the vulnerable off of a boss with someone who can perma apply vulnerable at like max attack speed might be like the strongest single target insta delete a
Look
boss
at that
in the
centipede.
game. I don't know how it works.
It's just
I'm
slaughtering.
going to find out though. I will certainly find out. Okay, leave dungeon doesn't work here. The sellers seem to be about the same, so why don't we try another dungeon?
I think I'm gonna get some food before I start gaming.
We'll just assume it was nothing. My bad.
We'll just keep enjoying some of
Let's go
Rack's
to another
amazing
dungeon. Well, how
gameplay.
about we do this one? Remnants of Rage. Okay. I have a feeling my centipede is going to one-shot the boss. Maybe if I get to the boss, I should not use the centipede and see how fast I can kill it without it. I will only summon my centipede when the monster is fully poisoned, and we'll see if it works. If I summon him, it should insta-execute him. I can only play each build for 30 minutes if I want to give you an even distribution. So, let's play for 8 more minutes here. Let's do this dungeon. Which one do you guys want to see next? Do you want to see Gorilla Big Smash Tanky Man? Do you want to see Eagle Lightning Mobility Man? Or do you want to see Jaguar Fire Attack Speed Man? Okay, I don't know why I asked this question. I'm just getting spammed all 3 of them. You know what? We're going to do something better. Sarah, which one do you want to do next? I asked chat which one they want to see next, but everyone's just spamming all of them, so which one do you want to see next? Jaguar, okay. Jaguar it is.
No! We want to see the lake!
Okay.
Give us Kong!
You're going to see the most visually appealing one last. Okay, so it's going to be, we're going to go Jaguar, Gorilla, Eagle. Sarah is one of us.
We'll get more nuggets.
Guys, we are going to be joined by Brent. He is the game director, aka the big shot. He's the boss man of the expansion. So I don't know when he's coming, but whenever he comes, we have already amassed a giant page of questions for him. Probably 90% of them are NDA'd and he can't answer, but you want to know what? We're going to ask him anyway. And I'll play it while I talk to him. We're just gonna do everything at the same time. Okay, this looks a little bit unfinished, right? This is a big open room. I assume there's going to be an event there. That's fine.
Not ready yet.
Adam is on Woody's stream. Woody and Adam are right behind me. God, I miss my centipede. If there's a legendary power, wait, time out, boys. Let's get in here. Okay, we already know this one, right? Where's Butcher? Dude, I hope Butcher shows up. I hope Butcher shows up when I'm playing Gorilla. Because Gorilla is tanky boy. Can I not track this quest? It's so distracting. Perfect. Beautiful. I like the new colors of the icons. You can see even the icons are different. don't mind the, what are they, bright pink? Like pinkish purple? I don't mind that at all. They actually, okay, we released a lever. All right, let's go this way. See if there's another one. How fast could the centipede kill Butcher? Probably instantly. Dude, Butcher, show yourself, I dare you. Show yourself if you aren't a little bitch. Okay, wait, am I holding something? No, it's another lever. Okay. We press 3 levers. Do I have any consumables? No. Okay, once we clear this dungeon, we're gonna go Jaguar. No problem. And you're gonna see the Jaguar is not as strong as the Centipede, so I'm warning you ahead of time. At least right now. They haven't put in the balance patch yet, so absolutely not final. You never know which one's gonna end up being the best. But for right now, when I played it yesterday, nothing was stronger than the Centipede. Okay, here we go. Big fight, big fight. We're not gonna use the Centipede until he's fully poisoned. Okay, that guy's kind of cool.
Oh.
Okay, he's getting
You got food ordered.
Let's see if I can not kill him here.
Rex is streaming.
Oh, the explosion hit him for 6,000. Come on, dude. Let's look at the implicits here. The implicit
I'm
is
gonna end this
32
stream.
damage to
We are gonna be
implicit
gaming here within the hour.
There are some powers that synergize tremendously
So
with blockchains.
get ready
some
to
of
game.
The Spiritborns are absolutely going to be using quarterstaffs.